Ancient Rome. You think you know it. Gladiators. Togas. Julius Caesar. The Colosseum. An empire so vast that at its peak, 1 in every 4 people on Earth lived under Roman rule. That is the highlight reel. The cleaned-up, marble-polished version of a civilization that was, in reality, stranger, messier, and more genuinely bizarre than any movie has captured. This was a civilization that used urine as mouthwash, that had a fire brigade whose job description was also extortion, that gave one of its highest political offices to a horse, and that built a sewer system still partially in use today, 2,500 years later. Today we're counting down the top 5 most surprising facts about ancient Rome. Let's go. Number 5. Romans used urine as mouthwash, and the demand was so high the emperor taxed it. The chemistry is, annoyingly, sound. Urine contains ammonia, a natural cleaning agent. When aged and fermented, the ammonia concentration increases into an effective whitening agent. Roman teeth, examined by archaeologists 2,000 years later, show remarkably low decay rates. The rinse appears to have genuinely worked. Large clay pots were placed on street corners for passers-by to urinate in. Fullers collected it for cleaning wool and cloth. Tanneries used it. Textile workers used it. And people gargled with it. The Emperor Vespasian introduced a tax on urine collection. When his son Titus complained it was beneath the empire's dignity, Vespasian held a coin to his son's nose and asked whether it smelled. Titus admitted it did not. Pecunia non olet. Money does not smell. Number 4. Rome had the world's first fire brigade, and it was simultaneously a protection racket. Ancient Rome was a fire hazard of extraordinary proportions, dense timber apartment blocks packed so tightly that a fire in one building could consume an entire district. Rome experienced around 100 fires every single day. The Vigils, Rome's official fire brigade, were established by Augustus in 6 AD. 7 cohorts of 1,000 men each. The world's first organized firefighting force. But before the Vigils, private brigades operated in Rome. The most famous was owned by Marcus Licinius Crassus, the wealthiest man in the city. His system was straightforward. When a building caught fire, his brigade arrived and stopped. His men watched it burn while Crassus approached the owner and offered to buy the property below market value. With the building on fire, agree to sell and the fire went out. Refuse and it burned to the ground. The wealthiest man in Rome built part of his fortune on what was, by any modern definition, organized extortion. The fire brigade as protection racket. 2,000 years before organized crime reinvented it. Number 3. Gladiators were not the bloodthirsty kill-or-be-killed warriors that every movie has shown you. They were more like prize fighters. With agents and fan clubs. The specific mythology of gladiatorial combat, every fight ending in death. The emperor's thumb deciding who lived and who died, is, in most of its particulars, wrong. Gladiators died in only 1/5 of fights. It simply didn't pay to have fighters die in the arena. A skilled gladiator represented years of training and enormous investment in food, medical care, and equipment. The men who owned gladiatorial schools were businessmen. Losing a top fighter to an arena death was a financial catastrophe. Augustus actually banned fighting to the death to tackle a shortage of gladiators. The most successful gladiators were celebrated as the sports stars of their age. Graffiti praising specific fighters has been found on the walls of Pompeii, preserved under volcanic ash for 2,000 years. Women were particularly devoted fans. Roman women were known to wear the sweat of gladiators, collected and sold as a cosmetic product believed to have beautifying properties. The gladiator you pictured dying in the Colosseum was, in reality, far more likely to survive his bout, return to his barracks, receive medical treatment from a doctor, and prepare for his next scheduled appearance. He was a professional athlete with a manager, a training regimen, a diet program, and a brand. He just happened to work in one of the most dangerous professions in human history. Number 2. The Emperor Caligula appointed his horse to one of the highest political offices in the Roman Empire, and the horse might have been a better option than some of the humans who held the position. Caligula became emperor in 37 AD at the age of 24. His early reign gave every indication of being a success. He was popular, generous, and appeared sane. Within a year, something had gone wrong. He declared himself a living god. He invited the moon goddess to his bed. He reportedly made senators run alongside his chariot in their togas. He executed people for sport. He appointed his favorite horse, Incitatus, meaning swift, to the priesthood, and was in the process of appointing the horse to the consulship, one of the 2 highest political offices in the Roman Republic, before his assassination intervened. Whether this was genuine insanity, a calculated insult to a Senate he despised, or political satire taken to its most extreme conclusion, historians still disagree. Some argue Caligula was making a pointed statement if the Senate was so useless and servile. A horse could do their jobs. Others believe he simply liked his horse and saw no reason why an emperor with absolute power should not express that preference in the most dramatic way available. Incitatus lived in a marble stable, ate from an ivory manger, wore a jeweled collar, and had his own house with servants and furniture for receiving guests. We will never know what kind of politician the horse would have made. Given what came before and after, possibly an improvement. And the number one most surprising fact about ancient Rome. Number 1. Rome built the world's first complex sewer system over 2,500 years ago, and parts of it are still running today. The Cloaca Maxima, the Great Drain, was originally constructed in the 6th century BC, during the period of Rome's early kings. It began as little more than an outdoor ditch to drain the Forum during floods. Over centuries it was rebuilt, expanded, and scaled up into a vaulted tunnel system large enough for a boat to navigate, lined with precisely cut stone, designed with gradients that used gravity to move waste efficiently toward the Tiber. It eventually served a city of over 1 million people, the largest city in the ancient Western world. And it still drains into the river Tiber today. Infrastructure laid down before the Roman Republic even existed, before Julius Caesar, before Augustus, before the Colosseum, before Christianity, is still physically present and partially functional in the city of Rome right now. And then there was the road network. The Romans built 53,000 miles of road by the early 4th century. Not dirt tracks, engineered structures with layered foundations, drainage channels, and precisely cut stone surfaces built to survive the weight of armies and centuries of use. Many of the roads across Europe today follow routes laid down by Roman engineers 2,000 years ago. The M1 motorway in Britain follows a Roman road. The routes connecting major European cities frequently trace Roman originals. Rome didn't just build an empire. It built the physical infrastructure that Europe still runs on. The sewers, the roads, the aqueducts that supplied clean water to cities at a time when most of the ancient world was drinking from rivers. We think of the ancient world as primitive, but Rome at its height had underfloor heating, multi-story apartment buildings, fast food restaurants, public libraries, social welfare programs, and a sewer system that is still partially functional 2.5 millennia later. The distance between us and them, in the ways that matter most, is smaller than we like to think. Ancient Rome gave us urine mouthwash, fire brigade extortion, gladiators with fan clubs, a horse nearly appointed to public office, and the infrastructure that modern civilization is still built on. Not bad for a city that started as a village on the Tiber. That is our top 5. If this video changed how you think about the ancient world, hit subscribe. We have got plenty more on the civilizations, people, and histories that shaped everything around us. Drop a comment below with the fact that surprised you most. We will see you in the next one.